What's up, boys? We're back in the middle of the Speed Chemicals yet another zombie survivors run. So we're stacking movement speed to gain chemical damage, a bunch of different ability stats, and then we can get a guaranteed legendary with the combo of these two rares. We lock one into legendary and then take that on the next time. That combined with the skip rope, we can get a lot of extra military training choices for that. The slowing effect is actually super nice combined with the high chemical, 50% slow, that doubles the strength. I'm not sure how that stacks, but that plus ice, we can almost root enemies with the 69% slow there, nice. And some pretty big electric tags for stunning on top of that. I'm still trimming down my military training upgrade pool a little bit with the Banhammer so that we can get movement speed more often there, but we'll really start being able to scale that up a bit more now. Then that'll just boost a ton of different damage stats. And we're basically crowd controlling almost everything now with the combination of those three different elemental effects, but mainly focusing chemical. I've been putting the single target upgrades mainly onto the engineer because he has a grenade that lowers your cooldowns when it hits. And then he has the chemical electrocution, which I think hits basically the entire screen now with my area. Probably just take that since it doesn't have any diminishing returns out of those. Got the chemical decoy on the Huntress. We can banish that. And then honestly, I'm fine upgrading that to legendary. We can grab our cooldown now onto the NG, of course. And the medic has a chemical grenade. Not the greatest, but should at least hit a lot of enemies with all the area I have now. I guess if you really wanted a chemical ability that's scaled with all of the different stats you can get here, you would probably have to go for the Pyro, I guess. I think one of his fire trails can turn into a chemical trail after it fades or something like that. But there aren't a lot of them that get duration, area, and damage all at the same time. I can't even see where that other thing is with all the stuff on the screen right now, my god. Where is the purple arrow? I can't see it. Sir? I can't see the purple arrow, there's too much stuff on the screen, man. Oh, it's over there, somewhere. And I guess having a ton of different chemical effects actually makes it a bit harder to see those, since they are the exact same color. So these are the new little side quest thing. You can keep stacking up some permanent elemental tags. I'm fine taking an electric, fantastic stunning, little bit of extra damage, it's not bad. He has some pretty big upgrades on the NG, and he has quite a bit of electric stuff. These are pretty bad. I guess we'll get cooldown reduction for the weapons. The Huntress and Medic both have chemical weapons, so we do apply a little bit of elemental based stuff with those. Let's see, the tank has one chemical ability evolution, but that wouldn't work with duration. SWAT has one that would work with area, but not duration for the helicopter. Ghost has one that would work with damage, but not duration or area, I think. So yeah, the chemical abilities are kind of sparse, and they don't typically get all those stats at the same time. Probably just that one pyro fire trail that leaves the chemical one afterwards. But honestly, fire trail with the full movement speed build does sound pretty cool. Might have to try that version of it at some points. Ability duration. Banish some of that, and then I guess we probably reroll unless I want legendary there. I don't think so. Ooh, that's not great. I guess we'll take the luck, just in case that's good. We'll constantly be getting XP from the skipping thing anyways. Got hit by the range guy there. I might get that at some point just to see how it works. The cloud of toxic fumes on death sounds interesting. But for now we just take the skips for the extra military training stuff. And at some points we can definitely replace the banhammer once we're done with that. But huge help right now trimming down the military training pool. I guess weapon cooldown is fine. We can upgrade that definitely. So I want to banish one of those. They're honestly pretty useful. Probably wait a bit on that. Like, I kind of want to make sure I at least have enough survivability to not get one shot for whenever I just start zoning out a bit and accidentally take damage. Theoretically, if you played perfectly, you could probably never take damage. But there's just so much stuff on screen. I feel like that seems kind of ambitious. Especially in such a long run. Area. movement speed, why not? We can upgrade that one. We can banish weapon attack as well. Then we put stats on the Inchi. Oh yeah, that would be decent as well. We absolutely don't want that because we do want the freezing and the stunning though. Guess we'll probably banish. Wait, we can banish that, but I kind of want to take it here out of these options. We need better stuff before I can do that. Since movement speed gives that, we don't need to have that as a level up choice. I guess technically on a long enough run you could keep scaling up the freezing and chemical tags and then eventually replace the double slowing effect thing as well. I don't think I'm going to play this run that long since we've kind of already beaten the game, it seems like. But I do want to get extremely high movement speed and see what happens. Just maybe not quite that long. Do I want to banish dodge chance? What are we at on that? 37. Looks like there's no diminishing returns on that. I don't know what the cap is. I guess I'll do it. I'm probably not going to go for a super long run. Do that for the upgrade. Grab the area on the NG. I guess luck. You actually could use that for the side quest that gives you the tags to make it more likely to get what you want, but I feel like those are rare enough that it's probably not necessary. That actually doesn't even do anything once you already have that combo, I think. Guess I could probably just banish the survivability stuff now. I think we can survive one hit for long enough that I can make it a pretty long time into this video anyways. Chemical? Why not? Because the slow keeps scaling on that 50% and 50%. The chance goes up, the slow seems to be maxed out, so we're just getting a bit of damage really. And the explosion range when they die will go up a bit, I guess. guess we'll go ahead and get rid of them. Go the cooldown onto NG again. How's he doing on that? So about 71% after the heavy diminishing returns. Pretty good. Legendary movement, we can banish luck, take the crit damage onto NG. Guess we'll probably want that at some point. We can do at least 4. Maybe 5. That'll be a pretty good damage increase at some points. that doesn't really do a lot, so we do want to banish that, but I guess we'll get it next time. Where are we at with the movement now? 367, 133.5 chemical, 53.4 on each of the ability things. But yeah, we do have an occasional bleed, so I guess it would be 5 status effects. These are actually all useless, I think. Well, we do have that for a little bit. I might actually just end up keeping that, so I guess weapon crit helps a little bit with that. Yeah, we probably have, or wait, I didn't mean to do that. We probably have a couple more stats I want to banish, and then we can drop the ban hammer. Oh, we just revived there. We might actually die then. I think this run has been long enough anyways. We can banish that since I get a decent amount of that anyways. Then lock down movement speed since we're maxing that out. Ability area onto NG. So it looks like small zombies might one-shot me now if I don't land enough crowd control onto them. banish one of these. Seems like crit chance is already into fairly heavy diminishing returns, so I guess we could do that. We can banish that since we get that from the movement speeds. So 73.5-ish% it looks like. These are actually useless. know if it's even worth it, but what the heck, max out the chemicals. Damage multiplier is probably decent at least. Oh, that's power up selection screen only, so that probably doesn't even work on the damage tag side quest. Well, I think we can probably replace the fan hammer now. Had to see what we get on the next military training. Okay, yeah, we're down to 3, so we don't even need to banish anymore then. Like 1.6 or so %. But since we're at about 75%, it's almost 4 times as effective as well. How much damage have each of these done? 31 million, 379 million, 816 million. Wow, almost a billion damage. 248, 1.06 billion with 5 damage tags. What on earth? That is crazy. What do I even have for that? Her bear trap, and that's all 5 tags. Jesus, what? That's insane. We don't even have the 10 tag effects. That makes it 5 times as strong as normal. What on earth? 5 times as strong on tanky enemies who are living a long time and constantly being hit by it anyways. These are awful. Which ability stats does that trap get? Only cooldown. It doesn't even have an area. No area, no duration. Wow, that's crazy. That would be everything except that one. But we have so much on those stats, it's pretty bad anyways. .3, 76.8, so just over 1.5%, which would be about 6% of my total cooldown. kind of want the gaslighter thing again. I don't think we're gonna take any of these. But I think I would go ahead and grab the gaslighter the next time we see that, so we can see my absolute maximum damage. Oh, I guess we could take the cooldown reduction thing as well, the bolts, whatever it is. Are we looking on the movement stuff now? 469, 184.5, 74% to each. Too bad those stats have such harsh diminishing returns, but ability damage at least. Yeah, I guess we could drop the banhammer for that. I think I'm going to end the run soon anyway, so we can see how silly the abilities can really get with that. Lots of poisonous lightning going everywhere. .77 up to 78.33. It really doesn't get that much worse when you consider it becomes a better stat the closer to 100% you go. And that's like the main stat that even needs diminishing returns in the first place too. so hard to see anything related to that side quest with all the chemical stuff that I'm doing as well, since they're the exact same color. Maybe duration. I guess technically I should take that. 2.7 billion damage. That's insane. And it will give the 10 piece. So we have a chance for the open wounds for 5 times damage. Then I guess we could try replacing that if I find the gaslighter again, since that's probably overcapped, and we're probably hitting some type of diminishing returns with both of those. But it might also just kill me, which honestly I'm fine with. This has gone on long enough. I think we've kind of broken the game at this point. I'm not even sure if the chemicals are that strong. 500,000 versus 2.9 on something I wasn't even scaling. On a single ability. It might just be a thing where when you go super long into the endless mode, enemies like scale up to a point where you basically can't even hurt them, so the percentage damage on the bleed is like disproportionately high compared to any normal type of damage. I don't know if that's a thing here. $79.6. Almost 5 times as many ability casts as normal now. feel like it has gotten a bit easier since we got the 10 tags on the bleeding. Like, I have one ability, and it's up to almost 4 billion damage already. That is insane. One ability that barely even scales with the stats that I'm stacking, doesn't gain duration or area. How is that possible? There's also a really good bleeding item that causes it to tick twice as fast. I might have banished it early into the run because I couldn't have imagined that a single skill with a bleeding tag would have outperformed everything else that much. And we were going super heavy on the chemical. Huh, we naturally rolled a legendary. I think we will just keep pushing movement for the lulls, but I can still do that. I will give Chemical every chance to succeed here, and it will snatch defeat from the jaws of victory still. I think we're probably going to see one more item chest and then probably call the run. We've done this long enough. Any gaslighter? No. Unfortunate. I guess we can get a tiny bit of extra ability stats here onto the anvil. And just see how much damage we do here. We'll turn damage numbers on. How do I do that again? Damage numbers on. Is there like... Okay, critical only. That'll make them slightly less bad. I can't see anything, but we want to die here anyways. Oh yeah, my final stats for the run. 523 movement speed. That's only a 74% increase. For absolutely stacking the legendary upgrades there. That seems kind of small. We did get 211% chemical and then 84.6 damage area and duration for abilities though. Love the military training combo for lots of legendaries, extra cooldown. That's trash, but whatever, we can get the gaslighter again. That's pretty nice once you're skipping all of the items and then even more ability cooldown combined with that. To try out some other chemical abilities, like I think the Pyro's Trail that leaves chemical afterwards can at least benefit from all of the stats on the second movement item at least. I don't know if it'll be any good, probably not, but might be worth a try still. So we got him up to 80.5%, so let's go ahead and let the run end now. Lots of numbers. Let's turn that back off. We've seen enough numbers here. See how much damage all the different abilities did here. So Medic did only 109 million damage. 1.5 billion on the Engineer and 5.8 billion on the Huntress. What? Let's see, 55 on the Experiments, 54 on the Weapon with almost no scaling on that. 804 on the Chemical Electrocution there. With the Evolution. That one at least did the best out of his stuff. Doesn't even work with Duration from the Compass. But does work with everything else. Huntress, 5.3 billion Bear Trap. Doesn't scale with that. Only scales with ability damage. And I think since most of the damage would be from the bleeding effect, I think technically it doesn't really scale with any of those stats. Which is absolutely insane. Well, I guess Bear Trap is the way to build if you really want super high endgame damage with more of the bleeding tag. There's an item that is for bleeding that doubles the ticking speed, I think. So that would have been insane with that. Everything else like 100 to 2.5 million, or 250 million I guess, at most here. Just that one standalone at 5.2 billion. That is insane. But that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.